For my audience research, I asked both my primary and secondary target audience set questions about my documentary, radio show, and DPS to get their thoughts and opinions. I began by asking my target audience, what do you think the topic of the documentary was?
The topic of the documentary is about emojis.
Emojis.
The topic was about emojis and how they're used on a day-to-day basis.
It was about how emojis can affect the English language.
It's about emojis.
I then asked, what do you think the argument of the documentary was?
Whether using emojis kind of ruins the English language or not, or whether it actually helps it.
I would say the argument would be between whether emojis are replacing language or whether they're being used to guide it.
How it connects to our language and if it's dumbing down our language today.
Are emojis used by the old people or is it just young people?
To say whether the emojis were damaging English language.
I think it's trying to show that we can carry on with everyday life by just using emojis.
I then asked, what did you enjoy most about the documentary?
I think it's really informative and how you got different people to give their opinions about it and how they feel about it, and especially when you were trying to get them to interpret the emoji and how they got it like right or wrong.
I liked all the funny parts, like throwing the dictionary and stuff. It made it a bit more cheerful and less serious. I liked the connection to a real live interviewing the students around the sixth form and also the interviews with the teachers.
It was very well edited and the message came across very clearly.
The graphics were good on it.
I like the whole concept of it because I think it's quite interesting to see that a lot of the older generation don't really know what some of the simpler emojis really stand for, so it's like something so simple but a lot of people don't get it, whereas I think the younger generation are quite clued on because everything is around technology. Back in the day you just had stick people, hangman, now you've got monkeys.
I then asked, what did you like least about the documentary?
I don't think there's anything that I didn't really enjoy.
I don't know. I think it was alright, yeah.
I'd say it was a bit distracting at times because there's quite a bit going on with different animations and music and stuff.
Sometimes she spoke a bit quickly and I couldn't get it all.
I think when one of the guys was talking about how his grandma uses emojis, and I think some people might find that a bit shocking, whereas my mum uses emojis and she sends me things like an aubergine and stuff like that in the morning, so I think for everybody it's something different, isn't it?
I then asked, was the advert persuasive enough to entice you to watch the documentary?
Yes, in a way, because it sort of showed that sometimes emojis can be hard to understand.
I wouldn't say so, no. It's a bit plain and it wouldn't really encourage me to watch it.
I don't think so.
Yeah, it kind of gave us the questions that you were going to be answering in the documentary and also kind of kept it fun.
Yeah.
Personally, no. But if I was, flicking over on channel, maybe I would end up watching.
I then asked, what did you like most about the radio advert?
I liked how it showed different people trying to decipher what the actual emoji combination meant.
The thing I liked the most was the role play between it because it was quite realistic to real life.
I thought the music was very good.
The sound effects were good.
I like the music, so it's quite snazzy, so it is something you'd stop and listen to.
I then asked, what did you least like about the radio advert?
Probably how jumbled it was. It was very quick and a bit hard to understand.
I felt it wasn't very clear what they were trying to say.
The thing that I liked the least would be the male voice. It was quite monotone and it didn't really, encourage me to watch it.
It was boring, really.
Nothing really, it was fine, yeah.
I then asked, did the article persuade you to watch the documentary?
Yes, it did.
Yes, the article persuaded me to watch the documentary because it questioned how significant emojis are in today's day and age, and I feel the documentary would have shown even more how they're used and for what purpose.
Yes, it did, because it kind of went into detail about how emojis can affect our everyday life and whether it will have an effect on the English language. Yeah, the key quotes kind of drew me in.
Yeah.
No.
I then asked the target audience, what do you like about the DPS?
I like that it includes a lot of pictures, not just text, because just text can get a bit overwhelming and boring. You've taken key quotes from the documentary and put them onto the DPS.
I liked how it included statistics about the use of emojis because it puts it into perspective. It's not just a couple of people who use it here and there, and also how it was laid out visually.
I thought it was very informative, very imaginative as well, in the ways that eye-catching.
But that was colourful and bright.
It's quite colourful, to be honest. It's something I'd like to look at and read, but to get me to watch a documentary, I wouldn't have a burning desire now.
I then asked my target audience, what did you dislike about the DPS?
I think there is still quite a lot of text. Like, it's in depth, but it could be cut down a bit.
It felt standard, like a standard article.
There wasn't anything wrong with it. I liked it all.
Nothing really.
I don't think there's anything I dislike about it, actually. It's quite an interesting read, so it's something I enjoyed reading.
After getting my audience feedback from both primary and secondary target audience, I'm not majorly surprised by the response I got. The majority of the primary audience liked the graphics and effects, which I'm very pleased about as these took a long time to do. However, there was one that stated she thought that at times there was too much going on. This is usually a response I thought I was going to get off my secondary target audience. However, they agreed with everyone else and they liked graphics. But the main response I got from secondary audience was that they knew exactly what it was about, emojis, which shows how our aim of getting a preferred reading from Stuart Hall's audience reception theory was achieved, as they all thought the documentary was also very engaging. However, in contrast to the feedback I got from my documentary, the feedback I got from my radio advert was mainly negative. I kind of expected this, though mainly due to the fact that we took a risk and used a female with a very soft voice that some viewers may find boring, as normally there's a male voice used in radio adverts who speaks very quickly and changes the tone very regularly of his voice. But I was pleased that some of my target audience liked the choice of music, at least, that we used, and definitely thought it caught their attention. Overall, though, I'm quite disappointed at the fact that the majority of our comments were negative, especially compared to the documentary, but I am happy that the secondary target audience liked the music that was used, and that intrigued them over anything else. Overall, I was very pleased with the feedback I got from my double-page spread, as most of my target audience members couldn't find much they didn't like about it, and they actually said they enjoyed it and it encouraged them to watch the documentary, especially when one of my primary target audience members pointed out that they liked the fact that there was more pictures and text, because this is exactly what I aim to do through the codes and conventions of a double-page spread, especially after doing some research and finding out what my primary target audience stereotypically prefers. I was also very pleased to find out that my secondary target audience also felt the same, as the research I did found that my primary target audience preferred to see more images than text, and this is what my secondary audience liked about it too.